than 400 cases of people who wandered into the wilderness but never came back. Accounts of children, people
was a coyote,
vanishing,
dog, or
seemingly
else.
swallowed up by the many endless forests across America, or even later found in ways that defy logic.
An animal.
Was it a person or an animal or?
I can't tell. All I know is that my central light came on and I just happened to glimpse and see this thing running across the yard. A good-sized man.
She described the way that
like a man.
the creature moved as being unnatural.
You've had problems in the neighborhood
It looked
before?
like it was
Yeah, my dog was
uncomfortable
killed here
in
just
its own
recently.
feet.
I don't know what it was, so whatever it was that was standing out there. I'm out here looking through the window now and I don't see anything. I don't want to go outside.
That what she was looking at
Jesus
was
Christ, you
pure
better...
evil.
Sure.
See ya!
Hello?
Get somebody out here.
What's going on now, sir?
That son of a bitch is about 6'9".
Do you see
The
him now,
cases of
sir?
about
Yes, I'm looking
100
right
people,
at him.
at least, who claim that they've been abducted
hang
by
on.
aliens.
He's
One
right.
of Dr. Matt's
Is he in your
patients,
yard,
Linda,
sir?
Yeah,
who
he's
says
gone.
she
He's
has
big.
been
Faded out,
abducted
like
since childhood.
reality. I was just
what I remember
being brought up this tunnel of light, right out of this tunnel. I just like noticed parts of my life that I wouldn't even occur to me to remember. Then I knew that I wasn't
I
in
never
my
told
body,
anybody
that I
about
was
that, and I just buried
close
it
to
in
death.
the back
And
of
so
my
then I
mind.
came to the
Me
end
and
of
my
this
brother,
tunnel
we never
and noticed there
spoke
was
about
a
it.
man that first
I
starts me
noticed
at first as
a
a place
mist or a fog
and I
kind
also
of moving.
looked, said
The
it down,
action, the
that
motion caught my
then
eye. It
the
actually
wizard,
started
without
taking
moving his
shape,
mouth,
taking
spoke to me and
form.
said,
The
struggle
idea of the
too
Grim
young to
Reaper
die.
went through my head, a cloaked figure. And as I was watching, it kept becoming more and more and more distinct to me that this was actually something with some type of presence. Like it knew I was there. And as I was watching it, it turned and looked directly at me. I felt like whatever this was angry at me. I wasn't welcome. It wanted me out. I had been face to face with a ghost or a demon, a spirit. I'm not really sure what. But this feeling of terror actually was going through me. And I really felt more that it was demonic. It was something very evil.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Real Supernatural Encounters. For my guest today, I have Michael, who is actually the father of Amber on episode 15. And he is going to tell a bunch of his encounters and experiences that he has of his own. So if you could, Michael, could you give a brief bio about yourself?
My name is Michael. I'm Amber's father. I live in Michigan, and my story goes along the line of with my father. He used to buy houses and buy and sell houses, and I lived in several houses. And but this one particular house that he bought was it was an old historic home and like 5-bedroom place. And like any other time, you know, we moved from any other place, you know, and everything was normal until we got completely moved in. I never really noticed anything strange until we actually started living there. And then I was the first one to start experiencing stuff because you know, I was only around 7 or 8, I guess. I think kids are more sensitive to entities. So when I was a kid, you know, my dad would buy and sell houses, and so I went to a lot of different schools. And this one particular school or house was very haunted. And early on, I detected that there was something supernatural going on. But no one believed me at first because, you know, I was just a kid. And my first experiences was, you know, voices and, you know, and I would see stuff on the side of my corner of my eye. And it was kind of light at first. And as time went on, you know, kind of it amped up to seeing, first thing I saw really was there's someone at the window, and really thought it was actually a person because you could see the hands, and it was pushing, you know, squeaking on the window. And you know, and I yelled for my dad, and he came down. He ended up getting me a monitor that I could tell him. So that actually happened again, and the very next night. And I think he thought that I was playing games at that point. So, you know, ended up taking the monitor away, And I don't know how long it was after that, but that's when I had the really bad experience. Yeah, so my dad thought I was playing games, and he took away my monitor, and kind of figured I needed just some little tough love or whatever. And and then it just got worse from that point. I had a really bad experience, and one day when my dad was at work and my stepmom was washing clothes in the basement. It was a really big house, and it sounded like someone was actually fighting. Okay. So yeah, well, it really scared me, and when I was screaming, my stepmom came running up and to find out what's going on, and for something to be so extensive, because I was a pretty calm kid,
Mhm.
and for me to be doing that, so they took it serious, and yeah, and the more I told them, the more crazy it was. And I went for a couple weeks, go like 3 days a week, and have to tell my story to him. He would ask me all the details of, everything that I've heard and seen. I had a lot of things to tell him that were all along the lines of sounds I heard, and different things that I seen. And stairs would creak a lot, and you could hear him walking by and mumbling. There was a lot of mumbling, very strange. But so that went on for a while, and then my stepmom had told her mom, which is my step grandma, about it. And she'd had some experiences before, and because my mom would work, she worked at the airport, and so he would be gone. One of them would be gone all the time. So she decided to come and spend time with me, and talk about what was going on, because she kind of understood it. And so she came. When she came, things really started happening more. It was like she drew out more energy or something.
Hmm.
'Cause that's when my stepmom started noticing stuff. They were talking together after I went to bed in the kitchen before she went to work, and they said it was like a cold breeze. You could see her breath, from the change in the temperature. It was so cold, and they just knew someone was there, and they didn't see anything that time. But after a couple times of that, they started actually seeing like energy, like a ghost type, or more like a shadow figure. Because I've seen both, but she would claim it was a guy that looked like her ex, and
Okay.
like feeding into her memory or whatever. And that's what I got out of it.
Okay.
So, the more my grandma would talk to them, and then my mom was seeing it. My dad still wasn't sold on it. He didn't want to believe it, and so kind of like pushed it back until he finally he was starting to come around about it, because he knew it did exist.
Mhm.
Before. He finally experienced, when he was sleeping in his bed, a lady at the end of the bed with a big sheep's cane and a long veil, and she was like an angel, he said, sort of, and it freaked him out. He sat up. He was, obviously stunned, and something came over him. He was still in a sleep state where he laid back down, and it told him that it would be okay. And then the next morning, he was like, "Man, I got this good experience last night with the lady, and although she didn't wake up." So it's very strange, they started experiencing stuff. and he decided that I'm not crazy after all, so he'll
Yeah.
take me out of the hole. And but things just escalated from there. There would just be every day there would be mumbling. You could expect that all the time, and
Yeah.
it just seemed like you'd see them, see something in the corner of your eye a lot. You look at it, and straight at it, it's not there, but if you turn your head, you see it there.
Mhm.
It's just strange. A lot. And we stayed there about a couple of years, and we ended up selling it. We were going to do that anyways, but I was really relieved to get out of that place. It was quite the experience.
Yeah.
And then I had another experience later in life with another haunted house. A friend of mine was marrying his girlfriend from high school when they were buying a house. It was a fixer, just a little house way out in the country. We went out there together and was working on it all day, and you could hear, there was sounds that would happen, that we didn't really, I guess, didn't take it too seriously until that night. And it's way out in the country and very dark, so I knew that something wasn't right. And when I woke up, I could see a light, and I thought maybe just a car light or whatever. It didn't really shock me at first. I just looked at it, and it just kept developing until I could see the head and the shoulders. And when it became complete, it had moved in towards me, and I was really trying to hold back. I was in shock at the time, like I don't know, like nothing would come out, and then it leaned over me, and when it did that, it all came out, and I screamed in there. It was just everybody laughed it off that we were drinking, and it was just nonsense. So next day, when we go back to work on the house, and Dewey's wife came to help us over the weekend, and I was telling her about what I experienced last night, and Dewey thought it was hilarious, and but she took it serious about it because I think she experienced something before. And while we were talking, something fell over and crashed in the back room, and the house was stripped and had no furniture or anything in it. We were looking at it. We went in there, and there's nothing in there to fall over, nothing, but he just would explain it away and whatever. And but that night, it's not a whole lot to tell, but that night it was extreme enough that she experienced something she said was hovering around their bed, and she wouldn't come back after that. She refused to move into the house, and we had to finish fixing it up because he already had invested in it. And had to fix it up and sell it still, but they never did move in there because of that one night. It was the only night she spent in there. It was very real, and Dewey knows now also, like that it's very real because he didn't want to move in there either. He experienced it too, but yeah, it's very real. It's another realm, I believe, that exists, and it's in the same time. It's just in another dimension.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, I have tons of questions for you. So if you're ready, what did the figure look like that put its hand on the wall that you seen the first time?
It was actually
Window.
the shading's down, and I could see a shadow from, like, it looked like he was outside, and his hand was on the window. Trying to push it up, it was squeaking. And so we actually thought that could have been a burglar, maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
It happened again the next night too. And, we never saw nothing outside or no tracks or anything. So
Okay.
I don't think it was very strange.
You said that your dad gave you a monitor. What kind of monitor was it?
It was one of them old school monitors with the wire on it, and it would just have a button. You click the button and you could talk.
Mm-hmm.
It was just attached by a wire.
Okay.
Click and talk like a walkie-talkie sort of.
And did you use it the second night?
The second time, no, he had took it away because oh yeah, I did use it the second night, and that's why he took it, because he thought that I was playing games. We went out and checked it all out again, and I went out with him, because I knew that I experienced that it was real, and he didn't see nothing, so he took it away, and it was like a tough love thing, sort of. Get me to stop, playing games, he thought.
Okay. Do you think that your dad ever had an experience?
My dad did have some experiences. Then my grandma Rabel came, she started talking about her experiences, and then he opened up more about it. And when he was a kid, he had experienced something. He told me him and his two brothers were jumping out of the barn into some hay, and his aunt or somebody appeared to him, said stop doing that, don't do that no more. So, yeah, he told me that about that, and then he'd seen some other stuff too. I don't remember exactly. I don't want to be specific and not be right, but
Okay.
it's definitely good.
Now, do you think that possibly that maybe there's some kind of link in your family where you guys are having all these supernatural and paranormal events?
I think it's very possible. Some people are more spiritual than others,
Mhm.
and spiritually connected. And it makes a difference if just hearing a story, and actually experiencing something.
Yeah.
Because that's without beyond a shadow of a doubt. So knowing that probably makes you more susceptible, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. And you said when did all this supernatural stuff start? Like, what time in your life?
Well, pretty much that was the first thing I experienced, from that house when I was a kid.
Okay.
And it went from there. I didn't really, I haven't experienced anything in probably 30 years now. I don't know why now, but
Yeah.
there was a period for like 20 years from when I was a kid, to I experienced a few things.
Okay.
Like,
Do you think that you said Dewey's wife might have experienced something by the way she was acting? What do you think she might have experienced?
I think she might have seen some type of entity or supernatural phenomenon that is unexplainable, because Dewey thought it was funny, and and she took it a lot more serious right from the start.
Yeah.
Somebody that don't hasn't experienced anything would find that comical more than serious.
Yeah.
Right, and she took it serious. He was
And then
mad at me about telling her that. He blamed it at me too. He's like, "Yeah, no, my aunt, you don't want the place." Thanks a
and
lot.
then they ended up selling the house and everything.
Yeah, he had to turn around and sell it. You made a profit on it. It turned out, you wanted to go ahead and move in. It didn't work out because he was living with her parents.
That's funny as heck, man. Do you when you experienced what you did inside their house, you said you seen an orb and then it shaped into something. What color was the orb first?
It was just a white, just like a dull white orb, and it was it didn't have a defined edge. It was just a orb without a defined edge, and it just kept forming.
Mhm.
And then until you could see, like, then it did have more defined, and I could see the head and then the shoulders, and it just like the more I looked at it, the more it became, a human shape, and
Yeah.
then it moved towards me, and when it did that, like took my breath away. I was just like, it was like going over being dropped off a roller coaster. You know how your heart goes like that, That's it.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I didn't come out, but when it bent over me,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm about to shit my pants.
Now, what did it form into?
It was just a human form shape with a shoulder and head, and it just bent over me, looked closer like that, and it was just that it was so frightening to experience that, because by that time I'd been looking at it for about a half hour probably.
Oh wow.
All this time staring at it, maybe only 20 minutes. It seemed like an hour, to me, but
Yeah.
yeah, I was just staring at it like that, and the more I stared at it, the more it got real, and it came in slow. It wasn't fast; it just came in slow, But
Hmm.
then when it got close, it was within arm's reach, and then it bent down over me. Oh yeah, that was
Yeah.
I kind of did it. It just came out.
Could you distinguish any facial features?
No, it was no, it was weird. It was like Casper the Ghost. There was no nose or face or anything. It was very strange. I never figured
Do you did you feel anything specifically from that entity other than your own fear? Like, did you feel any intentions?
Yeah, actually, it was fear. It was a lot of fear, and I think that is, we fear everything that we don't know. So, uh, from that fear, you give that entity energy, and it will feed off your fear. So, so yes, I mean, it was, that particular experience. Out of my own ignorance, I was really afraid. You know,
Okay.
and it had a lot of energy because it was bright.
Yeah.
Possibly taking a lot of that energy from me.
Yeah.
But definitely, it was. Yeah, it comes. They give you some type of feelings or whatever, and I think the main one is fear. So they can appear. They need that energy just to illuminate.
Mm, okay. Um, you mentioned about I didn't get to really hear if it was what relative it was, but you mentioned that this person heard a dog talking to her. Do you know what that dog said?
Yeah, it was my grandmother's great or my grandmother's grandmother, and they moved into the place and they painted it and everything, and they were making changes, and and the dog the experience of the dog, it was after they had been painting, and they'd noticed also that there was blood on the wall that kept coming through, and they kept painting it, and whatever this entity was, it's frustrated, and it spoke to the dog. Had When they had all took a break and sat down in the living room, the dog it was in the center of the room where everybody had everyone's attention, and it said, get out of the
Oh,
house," and it made
wow.
it didn't want them there. And although she ended up moving, a couple of years later, the entity or whatever it was followed her to wherever she went. I was telling her to get out. I don't know if that was the one or not. her problems didn't end there.
Oh wow. What do you? Man, I got so many questions for that. So when the dog spoke, um, did they see the mouth move, or was it like telepathic?
No, she said the mouth actually moved, and and talked to him, and it was somehow, came out of the dog's mouth somehow.
Okay.
Sounds absurd, but I believe her because she was a very serious lady.
Hmm.
She never told nobody else. She only told us. She was only telling us because of what was going on, and she was there for that.
Yeah.
She really helped us out a lot.
What's your family background? Is it indigenous or anything like that?
What do you mean?
Say for people some people are more spiritual than others, but in your whole entire family line and generations, you guys have a lot of supernatural stuff happening. So could it be for what your bloodline is as
Yeah,
well?
very possibly it could be. My grandson is very spiritual too, and he had some experiences also with Amber. And they
Hmm.
experienced some of the same things at the same time. Which so I think it does run in the bloodline. Also, they know it's real, so
Yeah.
they're awakened, to the reality of it, which puts you on another level, I believe. It makes you more susceptible.
Yeah. Okay. You said that the stuff didn't end there for your great grandmother. What else had happened?
Well, it was my great grandmother and my stepmom. So
Okay.
I never met her, the great grandmother, but all I know is from what my step grandmother told me about it, and she had to move away, and there was she knew that it was with her. It was talking to her in the car or something. She said when they left, even on the way, she's having experiences in the car, and I don't know a lot of details about it.
Okay.
What happened once they got in the other place? I could probably find out more maybe. I don't know, definitely, but yeah, it's just been so long since I brushed up on like 30 years since I ever talked about it. So
Okay. Um, you said the place where I guess it was at your great grandmother's house. Uh, there was all kinds of stuff going on there. You did you say that her basement was the one that found bones and teeth in?
yeah, so her basement was a Michigan basement, which is a dirt basement, and they they would go down there and had cats, and they'd go down there and take dirt from the basement for the cat box, and they come up one day and they had some human teeth in the cat box. So my uncle went down there and started digging around, and he ended up finding femurs and other stuff, and they had to call the forensics department of the police about it. They came and collected all that, and it was some kind of burial from. That's how old the house was.
Oh wow.
So yeah, it was. That's why it was a place that's so haunted. Who knows? They might have did rituals or something there, but it was more than just a regular type of ghost. There was a really strong evil there. You could just, she sensed it. She said, I know I was never there, but she
Yeah.
said that you could sense the evil. It's just, it always felt like you were in despair and sad, and something bad was going to happen for no
Yeah.
reason.
Hmm.
Really something.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess she ended up dying a couple years later of a heart attack or something. Whatever it was, my grandma believes it kept her sick. She could never recover.
Okay. Did she die when she was still in that house or when she moved?
Well, she actually made it. She made it out of the house and moved somewhere else to try to escape it. But she died a couple of years later.
Okay.
Still having the same experiences, unfortunately. She probably really needed to find a professional exorcist or something. That's really scary. I'm glad I never experienced anything to that level.
Yeah. Wow. When your daughter Amber came to you about some of her experiences, what did you think?
Well, I never did doubt it because she wouldn't she wouldn't come to me with a story, like that. And also it's questionable. So, to just come out with she wouldn't tell me, we're close anyway, so she wouldn't have to tell me no story. I would know anyway. But yeah, I didn't doubt it. I didn't doubt it at all.
Okay. Let's see. I think I got just one more question. When your father put you, or had you do counseling and stuff, and say you talked to the counselor, what were they saying to you when you were telling what you seen?
He was asking me, why, what was it like, and why did I think somebody was fighting, and what did it sound like, and I told him that it sounded like someone was crashing into the walls, and he'd say, then when you saw that there was nothing crashed into the walls and there's nothing there, then why wasn't you convinced that it didn't happen? Because that's because he didn't hear and see it,
Yeah.
so you can't be convinced it didn't happen because you know it happened. You heard it and seen it, and that
Yeah.
would be his questions, after analyzing all these things that you said, and when everybody checked it out and saw that it wasn't real, then you should know that it's your imagination. No, he was working on that, trying to get me away from believing that I experienced that.
Yeah.
So, and the psychiatrist suggested that I maybe get more help. Although my dad took me out, but the psychiatrist didn't. He thought I had more. Thought I might be crazy.
Really?
That was his advice to my dad. Maybe get me some more extensive help.
It's so sad that, especially in the past few generations, even before then, people always looked at these events as crazy, and the people were crazy, or they wanted attention, you know. Um,
Exactly.
I'm kind of glad that people are coming out more often and telling their experiences, you know.
Exactly. This really needs to happen for people. People need to hear several different accounts. I think you're doing good work here. Because it lets people see that there's more. That there's several. Everybody can't be crazy. So
Yeah.
something has to be. There's got to be something real to this. I mean, for me to sit here and tell you all this and to make up a fabrication and waste my time like this, it was not even would not be a part of my agenda.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with you. I I don't see people doing that, just making up stories. It's so crazy because you can tell when someone makes up something and where they're telling the truth because they change their stories. But it's been 30 years and you remember just about all the details that you can remember. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, it's been a while. I should have went over it a little better and took Amber's advice. She told me to take notes, and I figured I could wing it. I should have took notes like she said. Maybe do something do a better one.
yeah, anytime, man. We
But
can bring it back on and do another one.
yeah, I mean, because there is, there's other events that actually did happen. Her stepdad saw a UFO with me. We saw it together.
Oh
I
wow.
forgot about that. That was 4 or 5 years ago. and it was this orb that floated in. It was just getting dusk, and there's a big orb, and I saw it. I saw it. He wasn't outside at the time, and I had saw one previous to that a few months before. It was an orange one. It's crazy. I forgot all about this. So this time I wanted someone else to see it. So I ran in the house, and I got Greg, which is her stepdad, and he come out this because this stuff is so hard to convince, Anyway, most of the time I'm by myself when I see stuff. So, anyways, these orbs go around, and they end up going back into the one orb again, and it dissipates, just gone without a sound, no sound, or nothing.
Okay.
And it all happened within maybe like 3 minutes. So I figured I'd just throw that in there too, since we're talking paranormal. I totally forgot about that.
And now, what color were these?
I think they were white.
Right.
Or maybe they were tinted a little, maybe yellowish or white, like a dull white.
Okay. All right. Well, Michael, I appreciate having you on. Would you like to leave off with the closing comments and advice for others who go through any experiences similar to yours?
Sure. The best advice that I could give, from what my knowledge is, don't be afraid. I mean, I know that it comes natural to be afraid, and that's your natural instinct to be afraid, as we're all afraid of whatever we don't know. But by repressing that fear, you take away control that they can get from you, in whatever way, and we don't understand. But try not to be afraid of it, and just like I wouldn't seek it. Like I never try to seek it, because it's a phenomenon, and it's in a way that you're I don't like these ghost chasers or whatever, and they're running after it, and they're seeking it, and they're trying to find it all the time. And I think you could get yourself in trouble with that. I don't know. I could be wrong, but don't be afraid, because if you're gonna be around it, don't be afraid of it, because that will make you weak to it. It gets control through fear.
Okay.
But other than that, I don't know. I can't think of anything other kind of advice right now.
All right. Well, Michael, I appreciate you for coming on, and I thank the audience for coming in and watching this episode. And other than that, I hope you guys all have a great evening, and it's been another episode of Real Supernatural Encounters. So thank you guys for coming.
Have a great night. Thank you very much.